Welcome to Intuitive Alchemy, where we recode your reality from the inside out. I'm your host, Sydney, trained intuitive, energetic alchemist, and certified hypnotherapist. And this podcast is here for the woman who is done playing small. Here, we go deep into energy, identity, universal law, source truths, and the neuroscience behind what actually creates lasting change. No fluff, no filters, just conversations that shift your frequency and call you back to the most powerful version of you, the one who knows it was always her and it can only be gotten from her. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Intuitive Alchemy. I hope you had an amazing long weekend and Memorial Day. It is getting hot AF here in Phoenix. So we definitely, well, Corey had to work, but I definitely stayed inside and had just a very relaxing weekend, which was super, super nice. I'm never going to complain about a relaxing weekend. I did hang out with one of my good friends here in Phoenix, Anna. Hello, Anna. I know you're listening. So that was great. But other than that, just super chill. So, okay, today we are going to get into something that has literally changed everything for me, which there are a lot of things that have changed everything for me, but this one in particular is non-attachment. So we're not going into the spiritual bypassy version of non-attachment. We're not doing the like, oh, I'm just going to pretend I don't care kind of detachment, because like, guess what? That's not real. And energy knows when something is real or not. So it doesn't work. So we are going to talk about true energetic non-attachment, the kind that actually opens the door to your next level. So let's get into it. Okay, here's the thing about rising in frequency. Everybody wants to rise in frequency until we start to talk about what happens when you do, which when your energy upgrades, anything that doesn't match that new frequency, your new level, has to fall away. It literally has to. You wouldn't move into a house with the previous people's stuff still in it. The furniture, the dishes, the beds, whatever. You wouldn't do that. You would never even dream of doing that. But yet, we do that in the energetic sense with our desires. We're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to up level and I'm going to get this thing that I really, really want, but I'm not in any way aligned to it or ready for it. And I don't have the space for it. And guess what? You're not going to attract your deepest desires until you let go of whatever is in the way of them coming in for you to receive. And we think that we're ready for, this. We're like, oh yeah, of course I'm okay with detaching or, non-attachment. Like I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with whatever that means. But until it actually happens, until your friend ghosts you, or until the guy who seemed really into you and you were like really excited about, he disappears. The opportunity passes you up, whatever the case may be. And you just have to remember, like, this is what you asked for. This is alignment. It's not punishment. It's not something that actually is for you, just passing you by. It's alignment. So what's not for you has to go away and disappear. So I'm going to tell you a story about quite literally the deepest heartbreak I have ever gone through, and what happened after, and what I learned in that process of grieving the end of the relationship and heartbreak and everything. And just a spoiler alert, this is not a downer episode. Like, we're going to go deep, we're going to go low, but it's a magical thing. It's the power of alchemy. This is not like, if you're like, oh, this isn't what I want to listen to, I promise you it has a great ending. So, so don't worry. Okay. In early 2022, I joined a 6-month container called The Inner Circle with one of my mentors. Her name is Taylor Stone, if you've heard of her. And I was so excited to be like, it was the first time I had really invested in myself at a high level like that. And like, not just bought a course or a master class, but like paid a, decent amount of money to be in this smaller kind of high level container and to just level up in frequency and learn more about energy work and energy healing. And I was at that time in a long-term relationship. It was my first one that I was in since I had gotten divorced. And I was so in love, like so in love. Everybody knew it. I mean, I was so in love. I thought it was end game. I wanted it to be end game. The possibility that it wouldn't have been him, I didn't even want to entertain that thought or that concept. But very soon after the Inner Circle started, and I started learning more and not only just learning more, but putting into practice what I was learning, because that's key. We can't just know things. We have to actually put them into practice, turns out. So I was learning about energy work and rising in frequency. And I just had like this new like spiritual routine, and I just was so connected, like just so connected, more than I had ever been. And I started getting this feeling of dread. There's really no other word for it, but just this feeling of dread and fear, like really deep fear and actually anxiety, that my relationship was going to end, and that the work I was doing was putting me like pulling us apart essentially. And that there was nothing I could do to realign it, because I had already done the work that triggered our frequencies to no longer be a match for each other. So shortly after I was experiencing this feeling of like, oh shit, what have I done? I just healed my way out of this relationship that I wanted more than anything in the world. So shortly after that, the relationship ended, sure enough. And I won't get into the details about it, but it ended in such a way, I'll just say it ended in such a way that there was literally nothing I could do to fix it or repair it. There was no way that I could manipulate reality or just push through and make it work, because I'm really good at just making things work. Like if I want something, I am going to get it. I am super determined. I'm extremely resourceful. I can make just about anything work when I want it to, but like this happened in such a way that I could not do that. And that was an extremely tough pill to swallow. The universe, literally, God, whatever word you want to use, had it happen in such a way that the ending was so final, even though it did take me months to eventually accept this, I was absolutely shattered. I mean, I had left a marriage and gotten divorced and everything, and wasn't even half as sad about that as I was about this. Like I was the kind of heartbroken where you wake up in the morning and just immediately start crying as soon as you remember that this is real and it wasn't just a bad dream, like this actually happened and this is my reality. That was where I was at. I didn't even tell. I think I told my best friend like maybe a few days after it had ended. And I think I just like sent her a text and was like, hey, this happened, but like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to answer any questions about it. But like, just so you know, I didn't even tell my parents for like a couple months. As far as anybody knew, we were still together because I just like, I was so heartbroken. I couldn't even answer questions about it. I couldn't even talk about it. So as time went on, I was just going through such a deep shedding. I literally did like a masculine detox for several months, probably 6 months after the breakup, where I just was like, absolutely no men of any kind in the romantic sense. And then very, very, very slowly, I started to consider the possibility of meeting someone new. And I was still like, it was still very conceptual. Like I wasn't actually like getting on dating apps or like anything like that. I just started to be open to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there could be somebody else out there who would. I think at this point I wasn't like of the mindset that somebody would be better, but I think I was like finally starting to think maybe there could be someone as good. And then eventually over time I was like, no, there's for sure somebody better. But that it just takes time to get to that place, of course. So I had my list of all the qualities that I wanted my person to have. I still have the list in a notebook somewhere. It's like 4 or 5 pages. Like I was specific. I am very, very particular. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, so I had the list of all the qualities I wanted my person to have, how I wanted to feel with the person and just within the relationship. And then eventually, after almost 2 years after the breakup, I started actually like dating again. And every time I would start talking to someone or even go on a date, my soul was like, cute, but not it. And people would fall away in the weirdest but most divine ways. And this time, unlike I had ever done before, as a formerly anxiously attached girly, I would just let them fall away. And I didn't chase them. I wasn't making it mean something about me. Like I wasn't telling myself that I wasn't enough, because I literally started praying and setting the intention that whatever and whoever was not for me or not for my highest good would fall away. So that what and who is for me could come in. And my higher self didn't even like give me the option of settling for like almost aligned or almost a match. These guys would literally just disappear altogether. It's actually really funny, and it became really funny pretty quickly, how it would just happen out of nowhere. I used to live in Tulsa, like during this time in my life, I lived in Tulsa. I live in Phoenix now, but every Tuesday when I lived in Tulsa, my best friend and I would have like a little date, and we would either walk and go to our favorite restaurant, Chewy's. If you know, you know, creamy jalapeno. So sad we don't have that here in Arizona. But anyway, we would do that every Tuesday, and like it would just be story time central. And I would just like tell her each time this happened, where I would be like, one Tuesday, I'd be like, yeah, I met this guy and like, he seems cool, but like, we'll see, you know? And then the next week I would be like, okay, well, he just totally fell away. And we would just laugh because it was just like, we knew why that was happening. And I literally wouldn't even get disappointed or anything at this point because I had realized like I asked for this, I prayed for this, and I set this intention for this to happen. And I mean, I would be getting to know some really cool people, really cool men. Like I would be enjoying them and enjoying myself. And then bam, as soon as I would pray my little prayer and set my intention of like, if this person is not of my highest good, let them fall away. They would literally fall away immediately. Like, I'm so serious. This was truly the ultimate practice of self-trust, higher self-trust, and also self-love, because I wasn't feeling like I was being rejected anytime someone fell away, and I wasn't chasing them. I wasn't trying to get them to pick me. I wasn't trying to manipulate situations to get them to see like my value or to choose me, because previously I probably would have done that, because it was like, oh my God, I'm not okay unless someone chooses me. But no. That's not where we were. I was just like, oh, okay, that just means they're not for me. And let me tell you, when you are in this energy of I don't need it, I'm not settling, I'm truly good on my own, I love my own energy, you are the most magnetic you could ever possibly be. Full stop. The most magnetic you could possibly be. So let's talk about the difference between detachment and non-attachment, because there is a big difference. And I think a lot of people get this wrong, especially in just like kind of this modern dating. I think like, the cool girl persona, I would call the cool girl persona more of like detachment, because it's almost like, you're trying to act like to assume the role of more of an avoidant persona or avoidant attachment, because that's what a lot of these guys out here are. So detachment is cold. It's like numb. You've got walls up. It's avoidant, and it's a trauma response. It's not actually super healthy. However, non-attachment is open and loving and trusting. It's not cold. It's very warm, but it's just being willing to release the outcome. Like you're not clenching onto something with a closed fist. You're just like open palm. If this is for me, then I don't have to act out of character. I don't have to act out of integrity. I don't have to do anything weird or crazy or manipulative to try and get this person to stay, because like I'm just so aligned and I'm so in this frequency that it can't not happen at some point. So non-attachment is more like saying, this might be beautiful and this might be a really, really amazing man, but if it's not aligned, I absolutely trust that something better is coming. And also, I want to not only release this person for my own good, but also for his own good, because clearly if he's not aligned, like if he's not of my highest good, or if he's not my best match, then I'm also not his best match. And especially I think as women, we kind of tell ourselves this story of like, okay, not everyone is my best match, but I am everyone's best match. And like, I think there's something to be said for confidence and like obviously knowing your worth, like of course, but you have to also know that if someone's not the best for you, then you're not the best for them. And why would you want to hold someone back from what is best for them as well as what's best for you? So that's another aspect of non-attachment. And because I trusted just like so much that if something that seemed really cool didn't work out, there was something even better coming. Like that's what that meant. if something was really cool and it didn't work out, or it felt good, or he was really attractive, or he really interesting, whatever, and it didn't work out, there was someone even better. And I actually started to get a little bit excited each time my higher self just like would take someone out of my life, and I would be like, okay, he wasn't the one, so now we're one step closer to who is, and I can't wait to meet him. And I truly embodied that. Like I wasn't just saying that. I truly, truly felt and knew that. And I just knew without a shadow of a doubt that I would at some point meet this person and that it would make all of that worth it. And I did. Spoiler alert, I did. I'm not going to get into the story in this particular episode of like meeting Corey and how everything has unfolded with him, because that has been magical in its own, that deserves its own episode. So I'm just letting you know though, I did meet the person, and I'll talk about that soon in another episode. And maybe I'll even have him on the episode and get his perspective. Like I can tell my perspective of it and he can tell his, because it's super, super, super cool. Okay. So most of the time we don't let go because of, like I mentioned, what we make it mean about ourselves. Like, okay, if he doesn't stay, I'm not lovable. If he doesn't, immediately become obsessed with me, then I'm not worthy. If this opportunity disappears, I must have messed it up. But clinging is creating resistance, okay? It is fear. It's all fear-based, and you are not going to attract what you desire in a fear-based frequency. So the door's gonna stay closed to what you desire if you're in that kind of a frequency. So I want to share how I moved through this, okay? So I would ask myself, I would say maybe daily or just like very, very frequently, what am I holding on to with closed fists? Where am I preventing what I truly desire to come into my life by holding on to what I know is not aligned? And if there was something that I was holding on to, and, I had to be really honest with myself. I had to take radical responsibility of like, okay, yeah, I'm texting this guy because his attention feels good, or I'm physically attracted to him, even though I know that our lifestyles don't really match up or whatever. We don't maybe have the same desires, for like the kind of romantic relationship we're looking for. I had to be really honest with myself and, notice where I was preventing what I really wanted to come in. And then, I would pray this. I would set the intention. If it's not of my highest good, please let it fall away. And then in the meantime, just truly like loving myself, falling in love with myself, getting to know everything I could about myself, enjoying my own company. If you listen to the last episode about it's called Decode Your Soul, like about where I talked about the human design and the north and south nodes. And this is like, that's during this time is when I really was learning about all of that. And I just dove into like getting to know my soul and like get closer to finding out what my purpose was, my soul pull, all of that. So I was occupied. I wasn't just like, giving off this needy, lonely energy of like, pay attention to me. Like, no, I was paying attention to myself 100%. And so as I was doing all of this, the quality of what started to come in leveled up massively. So once I did actually start dating more seriously and not just like conceptually, once I got to the point where I was like, okay, for sure there's somebody better out there for me, and I'm thankful that what happened. It took me a while to get there, but once I did start dating, I was so focused. I was able to be so focused on what I wanted and what I knew was without a doubt out there for me. I did not waste my time or energy or anyone else's. I became the queen of lovingly but directly communicating as soon as I knew someone wasn't my match. Because I knew that by continuing to entertain someone just to get their attention or just to be taken on dates or whatever, I was prolonging the actual kind of man that I wanted, because the kind of man I wanted would not be interested in someone who was casually entertaining multiple other guys for free dinners or attention or compliments or, you know, anything else that goes along with a romantic relationship. I knew that my guy was not the kind of guy that would be okay with that or looking for a woman who kind of placed her self-worth and self-validation in the hands of, you know, male attention. And as soon as I knew that someone wasn't my person, I would literally send them a text and let them know that I wished them the absolute best and I thought they were wonderful, but I just wasn't their person. And I worded it that way because, like, I worded it in the way that saying I wasn't their person, because I didn't want to give them the opportunity to try and like become what they thought I wanted, or to like ask me, okay, well, you know, what could I do to change? Like, if they already weren't and my soul already knew it, I didn't want them to try and mold themselves into whatever version that they thought I would want. If you're not aligned, you're not aligned. And so I just would put it on myself, and I would just be like, you know, I'm not a good fit for you. So if you're in this kind of a situation, or if you're dating, like, that's just a little pro tip on communication. Like, just put it on yourself, and they can't argue with that. No one can argue with that. I mean, I did still have people try to argue this and say, like, no, I was indeed their dream person, but I was just so solid already in my knowing that I wasn't and that they weren't, that I just would politely like shut it down and keep it moving. We don't have time to waste here. And this is where I think so many women get stuck in their journey to manifesting their dream partner, specifically, like manifesting anything, but specifically, since we're kind of like on the vein of love and relationships and partners, we have to remember that there has to be space for your desire to come in, both physical and energetic. Both physical and energetic has to be. So if you are in a season where things or opportunities or people are falling away, falling out of your life, just pause, let it be, savor the space that's being created. It is not rejection. If you are doing the work, and if you are healing and you're working on, you're rising in frequency and you're not spiritual bypassing, like you really are doing the work and you have the highest and best of intentions, it is not rejection, it is redirection, and it's alignment playing out in real time. That's what's happening. And if you can master the frequency of non-attachment, you will be shocked at how fast your desires just start to come in. They start to land. They're just like popping in left and right. And I can't wait to hear about how this happens for you and like kind of where you're at in your non-attachment journey. And if you have any questions about this or how this might look in other areas of life, because like I said, I know that I mainly talked about like romantic relationships, but it truly applies to any of the 8 areas of life. And I'm going to post a link for the homework. You guys know I like to give homework. I like to embody. Like we can't just like listen to a bunch of podcasts or master classes or whatever and expect like just having information to change us or to heal us. We have to embody it. We have to practice it. We have to put it into our lives. And so I am going to post a link in the show notes to a Google document that you can access that has several really, really good journal prompts for anyone who wants to start mastering non-attachment and energetic alignment in their lives and just really go deep on that. And I really do recommend doing this and being intentional about it. Go deep with it. Like anything, it is a practice. It does not happen overnight, so give yourself some grace. I mean, I literally took 2 years almost after my relationship ended to fully be able to get back into the serious like dating world, I guess you could say. But once I did that, it only took like a few months for me to meet Corey, which, like I said, we will get into that story, that amazing story, very soon. So, okay. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a written 5-star review, screenshot it before you submit it, and DM it to me on Instagram at Intuitively Sydney for a chance to win a free mini reality recode with me. You can also book a mini or full reality recode or download one of my guides via the link in the show notes or on my Instagram bio. All right, that is all for today, my friends. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next Tuesday. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend who needs it. Take a screenshot, post it to your Instagram story, and tag me at Intuitively Sydney. That's SIDNEY. I would love, love, love to see who's tuning in so I can connect with you and celebrate you. Have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.